Just in tonight here at 5 o'clock, a Louisville man is one of 10 Kentuckians who've died due to the winter storm. The mayor confirming the death today. Temperatures so cold right now there is ice forming right in the Ohio River. You saw the Big Four Bridge there. Hello everybody, and thank you very much for joining us for our winter storm coverage. Continuing, I'm Doug Proffitt.
And I'm Connie Leonard. Of those 10 Kentuckians who died, all are over the age of 45. Governor Andy Beshear made that announcement just hours ago in an update on the state's storm recovery.
We don't want these families to have to wait for reimbursement by FEMA. We've been raising money into this fund to respond to situations like this, and we'll be reaching out to those families directly.
And Governor Beshear there announcing that Team Kentucky Storm Relief Fund will pay for each of the family's funeral arrangements. He also added the number of power outages is decreasing in the state. As of today, there are just over 12,000 outages.
The governor saying he's expected to be wrapped up, everything expected to be wrapped up within a week. In Jefferson County, 55-year-old Richard Marshall was found outside. He died shortly afterwards, we learned today. The mayor talked about the man who was from the Portland-Russell area.
With great sadness that I can confirm we have lost someone to the extreme cold temperatures here in Louisville. Richard Marshall, 55 years old, passed away over the weekend after being found outside in really grave condition, and the hospital could not revive him.
And with the cold weather comes freezing water and broken pipes.
We have a new update on that for you tonight at 5. Louisville Water Company crews have repaired more than 70 water main breaks since last Friday. WHAS11 photojournalist Jessica Farley shows us inside the operation.
There is a science about water main breaks in winter weather. It's not so much the air temperature as it is the water temperature. It's cold, so I mean the Ohio River right now is cold, and when the water leaving our treatment plant dips below 39 degrees, that we can see a higher likelihood of water main breaks. We really have a couple of priorities. One is making sure that we continue to provide safe, high-quality drinking water. The second thing is safety for our crews who are repairing that break, and also for the public, making sure that we maintain a safe area and that we restore service as quickly as possible.
We set up work zones to keep them safe. Anything from a basic two-man flagging up to lane closures, lane shifts. Yeah, we could do it all.
It's a special individual who works at a drinking water utility.
Those guys don't have an easy job, you know.
No, because, I mean, you know, the guys actually got to go in the hole. They actually got to get into the water.
Most of us turn on the faucet and it magically appears, it's there. And that just doesn't happen by accident.
Louisville Water Company recommends that if you notice your faucet does not come on right away, check with neighbors to see if they're experiencing the very same thing in the neighborhood. If they are, it could be a larger water main break, and that's when you should call the Louisville Water Company.
Yeah, there have been several of them now.
They're popping up.
Across the city, yeah.
Increasing. Let's check in with meteorologist Austin Evans. He's in for Mallory Schnell tonight. And so, Austin, we still have some of the coldest weather, air temperatures ahead of us.
Yes, and we got another cold snap on the way as we head into the weekend. But looking ahead to next week, it looks like we'll begin to thaw out, which could actually bring more of those water main breaks. Of course, we'll be keeping an eye on that. It's still dangerously cold out there, and we could see some light snow coming in Friday, potentially into Saturday, but I'm keeping an eye on this cold snap again as we head into Saturday. I'll have details on that coming up in my full forecast. Here is our 4-box Trimark traffic camera. Everything moving relatively smoothly. The interstates are, for the most part, dry. You got to be careful, though, still. One, people not getting enough snow off their cars and snow flying off said cars. And two, the snow banks are pretty close to the road and they can sneak up on you easily. So just don't get too close to that sideline. And there's that ice again in the Ohio River. Takes a lot to freeze moving water, and that is what has happened. It's not frozen solid, of course, but it is very, very cold in the water and in the air. We're in the 20s across Kentuckiana, 17 degrees, though, in Seymour. Of course, with the wind chill, it feels a bit colder out there, though it's not that bad the farther south you go in terms of wind chill. And here is the culprit, and this is why it's not that bad, though. You could also argue that the sensors are still frozen. The anemometers are moving pieces of weather stations, and they might actually still be frozen. We got a 15 mile per hour wind here in Louisville. Here's satellite and radar. We've seen a lot of sunshine the past few days. That's been really, really good for helping melt the roadways especially. And tonight we are going to get cold again, down into the single digits potentially, and especially outside the Louisville metro. Details on the rest of your week coming up in just a few minutes.
Today, GE Appliances revealing a new production line to be built right here in Louisville at Appliance Park. They're going to be making water filters, the kind that go right inside your refrigerator. The move builds on the company's goal of taking jobs from China and Mexico and putting them right back here in the United States.
That's right. Our Ian Hardwitt and senior photojournalist Alyssa Newton heard from the CEO, who calls Kentuckiana's workforce the right fit.
The mostly autonomous assembly line at GE Appliance Park starts with a human touch. These 3D printed water filter housings are loaded in, then plugged with a carbon filter made with coconut husks.
The secret sauce of the carbon block, this is what does the actual reduction or removal of impurities in your water.
Catherine Caverneau engineered the filter and the production line. About 30 people work on it. They're expected to make millions of filters each year.
GE Appliances is moving jobs and productions from China to Kentucky. Thank you for that.
This applause follows the company's recent commitment, bringing washing machine production here by 2027.
What you see here is very advanced. There's a lot of engineering work, there's a lot of equipment. It's hard to find that kind of skill set in America today. So we do a lot working with the school system, working with universities.
CEO Kevin Nolan says Kentucky has the right mix of workers as it plans on creating 800 more local jobs with its investments over the next 5 years. The line makes one filter every 6 seconds. Some of them end up in other parts of the plant. Then they end up over here at AP5, where they make refrigerators. So it's all about reducing the distance all these parts have to travel before they make it to your door. Just try to buy a genuine one. Online markets are full of fakes, but the work here is the real deal. In Louisville, Ian Hardwitt for WHAS11 News on your side.
And GE Appliances' ongoing investment of $3 billion, the company says, is its largest in America.
Quite the turnaround from the days when everybody worried that actually Appliance Park was going to leave. That's not the case now. Biggest investment since Appliance Park opened in 1951. So big it had its own post office and that private zip code 40225.
Also today, even more manufacturing jobs coming to Louisville. Today, the governor joined company leaders at Wicked Technologies for ribbon cutting at its new facility. Wicked Technologies is a medical device manufacturing company specializing in bed sheets. CEO Allie Trutman says she created the company to address the problem of night sweats, and it's just grown from there.
What started in my one-bedroom apartment in St. Matthews in the middle of it when I moved my couches out is now 7,000 square feet of FDA-compliant medical device manufacturing space. And that's because someone outside of the bubble you've been living in your whole life finally sees the same vision and says, yes, this matters.
There are 11 full-time employees and about 22 contractors that help run Wicked Technologies right now, but that number is expected to grow with this new building. The manufacturing plant is located on Produce Road, which is just east of the airport.
These two major announcements come in stark contrast to recent major layoffs at the Louisville SK plant in Glendale, Kentucky of Hardin County. Just over a month ago, Louisville SK laying off 1,600 employees at its EV battery plant, which was built as a partnership between Ford and the South Korean company SK On. After the partnership ended late last year, those employees were laid off as Ford takes full custody now of the plant.
Well, happening today in Frankfort, lawmakers are discussing a bill that could have major effects on Kentuckians if passed.
The State House Judiciary Committee hearing testimony about a proposal to prevent child sexual abuse by paving a path to arrest the abusers before the assault happens. House Bill number 4 would make it a crime for any adult to entice, coerce, solicit, or prepare the minor to engage in sexual conduct with the person or another person. If it's passed, House Bill 4 would make grooming punishable by up to several years in prison.
And the penalties would be much harsher for offenders who hold positions of authority, like a teacher or a coach. And some lawmakers had concerns about this scaring health and sex education teachers from doing their jobs.
Someone saying, "Hey, I'm having, these issues with my body or whatever," that is nowhere near the language of this statute. Nowhere near it. So continue to have those conversations. You should be having those conversations if appropriate in that particular context. This statute is nowhere near that conduct.
Well, the committee voted to pass House Bill 4, meaning it advances to the full House floor for a potential vote later. And we've got another look at the future of what's now the Mid-City Mall.
Pretty amazing new renderings were revealed during a meeting just this morning with the Highland Commerce Guild. Take a look. These photos show what branch developers are hoping to be called the new Mid-City Market. And you can see the existing mall will be broken up and turned into additional parking with smaller businesses placed around it and extra trees.
Developers said the design is intentional, incorporating separated sidewalks and more landscaping on the Bardstown Road side. On the Baxter side, the residents can expect to linger at a new green space. Plans for a grocery store and the library are also included. And the existing businesses around the mall property will stay. This is, of course, Skyline Chili, the Heine Brothers, and Raising Cane's. The renderings are not final. The target date for demolition is later this year, with its targeted opening date being 2028.
Well, despite a strong community push for housing, there are no plans to turn the 8,400 square foot property into anything beyond commercial use, as you can see from these renderings. By the way, any questions, you can direct them to the email on your screen. It's midcity@branchprop.com. That's midcity@branchprop.com. You can send in your thoughts and reactions to what you're seeing. Days after the deadly winter storm made its way through much of the United States, power outages still persist. The progress being made around Nashville and the state of Tennessee to get the lights, the power back on.
Here's a look at your Kentucky Lottery jackpot numbers. Mega Millions sitting at $303 million. Powerball, $43 million.
The Kentucky Lottery, funding education for over 1 million Kentucky students.